So, happy Mother's Day to all of you out there. And the Holy Spirit, being that clever fellow that he is, has done it again, because this Sunday's readings actually fit in very well with the whole idea of Mother's Day. Because if you listen to St. John's, the letter from St. John, which was our second reading, and then we listen to the Gospel, what John is talking about essentially is love. He even goes so far as to say that God is love. And if we want to understand what it means to be a mother, I think that's a very good perspective to look at it. To be a mother is a very special way of sharing in and experiencing and understanding the love that is in the heart of God. And in the Gospel it says something here that I think is very beautiful. No one has greater love than this, than to lay down one's life for one's friends. Now, if you substitute that word friends for children, you got it made. That's what it means to be a mother. To be a mother, probably the most characteristic trait is that a mother is somebody who lays down her life regularly for her children. And strangely enough, one of the places where I best saw this kind of advertised, if you want, was in an advertisement. It was a commercial, and I think it was by Pfizer, and it must have been in one of the years when there was Olympics. But they had this beautiful commercial, probably ran about a minute or two. And all it was is it shows 5 different mothers with 5 different children around the world. I remember one was a boy who was playing volleyball. One was a boy from Africa. There was a girl from China. There was an American girl. She was a gymnast, very cute. Yeah. And it shows them at a young age, and mom is waking them up, and they've got sleep in their eyes, and they look precious and everything. And mom is, cooking them, preparing them breakfast, and motivating them, and getting them on the bus, or driving them to wherever they have to drive to. And you see these little athletes as kids performing, and sometimes they fall and fail or whatever, and mom is there, feeling sad with them and encouraging them, and gradually you see them getting bigger and getting better and getting better until they're in the Olympics. And of course the commercial ends with each one of them seemingly won whatever thing they were in the Olympics. The boy helps win some important volleyball game with his big killer spike. And the girl that was the gymnast that had fallen off the balance beam earlier, you see her do the spectacular flip and land on her feet on the balance beam and everything and win the medal. And then it flashes, in each one of these cases, it flashes to the scene of the mothers. And the mothers are all crying and proud and in the stands and just can't believe. They're bursting with pride for their children. And that is what it means to learn to die to ourselves in order to give my life for a friend, to give my life for a child. What characterizes mothers is that self-giving for the sake of another. And realistically, that is what should characterize us as Catholics. That is the very essence of our faith. Everything that God gave us, liturgy, priesthood, the sacraments, everything that God made us is so that we can learn to give of ourselves for the sake of others. That is the meaning of love. To seek out the well-being of the other disinterestedly, to love them, and to feel joy in their successes. And when we have a world that does that, we will truly be, if you want, a quote-unquote Catholic world. This is what God does with each one of us. You stop and think about it. Have you ever asked yourself, why did God even bother making us? Because frankly speaking, he doesn't get anything but headaches out of us. There is not a single thing that any of us in the church can actually do for God that he needs. He was absolutely perfectly happy and content hanging out in heaven alone. Even before there were angels, he was absolutely content because he has everything. He is the fullness of everything that is good. So you say, well, why would he bother making us then? And the reason is because he contains all happiness, all love, all joy, everything that is good. And he says, it's not enough that I'm having a great time. Wouldn't it be great if I had somebody I could share this with for our sake? So God is this continuous outpouring of love to us for our sake. And being a mother then is a very privileged window into what is the heart of God. If you want a great path, one of the greatest possible paths to being a saint, it is to be a good mother. And you know what? 50% of humanity has it right there at their fingertips. The vast majority of women, it is part of our calling, your calling. And it is a beautiful vocation, and it is a pathway that God gives us to make us holy. Now, everything I'm saying about women, in about a month's time, I'll turn around and say something almost exactly the same about men, because in a different way, as men, as fathers, that is also our calling. It is also about a self-offering, a self-gift, and it is also about having, for example, there is no more proud moment in most dads' lives than watching their kid do something really spectacular in sports, and watching their kid on the football field score the winning touchdown or whatever. And we feel fulfilled by that, and we feel great, and even though it wasn't us doing it, especially because it wasn't us, because it's the one we love, right? But you know what, men, you get to wait a month, so deal with it. Today is all about your wives. So, our homework today is, number one, after Mass, there are cupcakes and flowers and stuff like that. Make sure that if you want to look really good, make sure you run out of Mass before your wife sees. Go grab a flower and give it to her before she knows what's going on, okay? Number two, something a little more meaningful that's going to have literally an eternal resonance is, wouldn't it be cool if you actually said a few prayers for your mom or for your wife? Wouldn't that be cool? Because that would actually be something that lasts forever. So, minimum requirement is 3 Hail Marys today. Minimum. If you want to get extravagant and do more, that's great. I mean, there's no limit here, okay? And thirdly, and this is, get ready for the drum roll, the commercial break. If you really want to make not only your wife happy, but also your husband happy, because by this point Father's Day will have rolled around, you can take part in the greatest entertainment activity in the history of the planet, which just happens to be organized by me. We are having a concert. It is actually, I'm going to, full disclosure, this is a fundraiser, but we are having a concert in St. Paul's in Greenwich with a quintet from the New York Metropolitan Opera, and wine and cheese, and a little presentation on what the Legionaries of Christ are doing, and all the proceeds, I shouldn't say all the proceeds, all the profits, anything we actually make on this thing, is going to go to support 85 young seminarians that we have up in Cheshire, Connecticut. And it will be a great opportunity, a good time for everybody. So, I think a great Mother's Day gift would be date night. Reserve it, book it. You can go online, get your reservation. The church holds plenty of people, so there will be no shortage of space. I wish I could say I knew enough people to fill the church, but that's not true. And Pope Francis formally declared that if you bring any guests, you get a plenary indulgent. So, anyway, I will be in the parking lot shamelessly plugging my concert, and I hope to see you there after Mass. In the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.